Thank you. I believe the internet is powerful. I believe that you can do so many great things with it. Every day we see wonderful people all around the world doing great things with technology. A few examples would be the gentleman who raised $50,000 to make potato salad from crowdfunding. Someone created that platform for crowdfunding. My son raised, I think, $1,400 by shaving his head for childhood cancer. Someone made a really easy platform for us to be able to do that with, for him to effortlessly go and raise money, and my friend Chris here was the second one to donate to him, and he was across the country. We look at WP Beginner. Does everyone know what website that is? So Saeed is using WP Beginner with WordPress to build schools. Last year he built 1 school. This year he raised enough money to build 2. That's just a little bit of the technology that we can use with WordPress, or just to make anything. I mean, it doesn't need to be just WordPress. Look at social media. What's happened this last week? Everybody's been talking about Ferguson and all the things that have been going on there that we as a nation need to know. We would not have that available to us if it were not for technology. I also know hope is not a strategy. Someone in front of me here said that to me, and I know other people say it, but it's always something that stuck with me, because it doesn't matter if you're talking about internet marketing, or you're talking about my daughter wanting to get an A in her class, or my son wanting to get to the next level of Skylanders. Hope doesn't get you there. You have to have a strategy. You have to know what you're going to do, and you have to be able to implement it and to make it happen. When I talk to website owners or bloggers, and I talk to a lot throughout a given week, a lot of them have hope. They hope they're going to do something spectacular, but very few have an actual strategy. And today I want to talk about that strategy. Now you're probably thinking that I'm kidding on the hope comment. These are some of real-world inquiries I receive from people. I have high hopes that you're going to be the savior of my web dreams. Truly, that was an inquiry. They get better. I need you to be completely honest with me on how well this website appears. We will hopefully have a new site redesigned. So what that tells me is they don't even know if they're going to have a site design, but they hope that they might. That doesn't lead to success. I don't know what I need for e-commerce functionality, but I was hoping you could tell me. Okay, there's a lot that goes into e-commerce. If you've ever built an e-commerce site, taxation, shipping, dimensions, coupons. I don't know what they need until I can do discovery with them, but they're hoping I can tell them. This next one's one of my favorites. My budget is $300, and I'm hoping to have something like Twitter and Facebook. And he was annoyed when I told him that I could not make that happen. Now, this last one was this week. And it doesn't have hope in it, but it's a good example. I want to build an online store and Facebook type of website with membership registration, video chat, and my budget's $400. We charge $100 per hour for coding. It is more than 4 hours to make all that happen. But my point is that 50% of the inquiries that we get during the week, they're all based on hope. Very few inquiries that we receive have someone that says, here's my plan, A, B, C, D, E, and I want you to help me make it happen. Looking for a partner. Those people I jump on because they have a plan and I know I can help them be successful. It's the ones that have the hope that I worry about, because you got to have more than hope to be able to do anything online. Generating high volume website traffic that actually converts into revenue or whatever else you want it to convert into when it comes, it requires a lot more than hope. You have to have something substantial there to make it happen. You have to have a plan, you have to have a strategy, and you have to have the willingness to dig in and make it happen. This is my dog. His name is Coco. I have said, and I have blogged about before, that your website is like your family dog. So my dog is genuinely stinky. and hyper and excited and not really well groomed. I am his person, and unfortunately, I am a cat person. So we have a little bit of disagreement there where he loves me and wants to be with me all the time, but I like cats because cats are clean and they're independent and they just take care of themselves. My dog does not. Well, your dog is like your website. If I want my dog to be a good dog, I just can't buy him and hope that he's going to turn into a good dog. I have to get him, and I have to help groom him into a good dog. It takes ongoing effort. I have to bathe him and love him and brush him and work with him on obedience. Your website's the same, or your blog. You cannot just build it and think people will come and revenue will come in from all over the land. It does not happen. You've got to love it on an ongoing basis. It needs to be nurtured. I believe WordPress is powerful. I know it leads to multiple opportunities, whether you're a blogger or a website owner or you want to build a business around it. I built a business around it 5 years ago in the heart of the recession. And I was saying before we started that I met Joomla and WordPress in the same day. I fell in love with WordPress. I saw endless possibilities in what it could create. And over the last 6 years of being in the WordPress community and working with it, I've seen people all around me do amazing things with it. And all you have to do to make those amazing things is to have more than hope. A successful website or blog, either one, it's a strategy, it's an investment. It's not just a financial investment, it's an investment of your time. And it does take ongoing effort. The things I want to talk about today are the elements that go into building up your blog and building up your website to the point where you get to a spot where it just happens, where things just start to come in and flow. And it no longer feels like you're dragging yourself up a hill, where you're kind of just riding the hill and keeping it going. That takes a while to get to that tipping point, but it does happen. And it's a lot of little things that make it happen. I have 10 different areas that I want to talk about, and each area has some elements to review within them. I don't want you to look at my list or my slides and be overwhelmed. What I want you to do is look at it and say, you know what? I'm not doing a very good job there, but I could. Or look at the easy things that you could change today and implement and make an impact with, because you will be surprised at how many of these little things make an overall difference. And I myself did not start with all of these in place. And I'll admit, even some of them, I still kind of stink at. I don't drink my old Kool-Aid in a number of areas, although I know I need to. It's on my plan to implement. Notice I have a plan, it just hasn't gotten there yet. So don't be overwhelmed as we go through them. Look for low-hanging fruit that you can implement. Look for things that you know you may have missed that you can start doing. And you will be surprised at how quickly the tides start to change and traffic starts to come in. And by the way, I do like interactive. So if anyone has any questions or comments, interrupt me. Okay, so the first area is branding. Does everybody know what branding is? Anybody know what branding is? Branding scared the snot out of me when I first started in the industry. I was nervous about it. I thought you had to be a graphic designer to get the concept of branding, and that's not true. You don't have to be. You do need to be able to see things, and you need to look at what you do in a different way. One of the best things I did for myself and us as a company is to get a logo. You might ask yourself, if you've got a blog, why do you need a logo? A logo is something that gives you a base of an identity. It allows someone who comes to your blog or website to see who you are and to make a mental image of who you are and take that away with you. I have a friend who wants to launch a large website project, and when I say large, I mean like $20,000. I've referred him somewhere else because I don't like to work with friends directly like that, but he's willing to make this investment. He does not want a logo. But he wants to spend $20,000 on a website. And I tried to counsel him and say, listen, you really need a logo. He's like, no, I just want it black and white. It's fine. But what he's missing is if someone comes to the website and sees the website and likes the website and goes to leave, they need to make a mental image of what they want to remember to come back. And a logo lets you do that. The other thing a logo does is it gives you a basis for other branding elements. And up until the last year, I was really bad at that. My graphic designer that we have on staff, she would use our logo as the basis of our graphic design for our website. But guess what? I wasn't using it elsewhere. Now I do. I can tell you my fonts. I can tell you the font colors. And I make sure that I incorporate it everywhere, including these slides. They're using our branding colors in our fonts. My next item is color. We use and we reinforce the colors of our logos, which is red and white. I'm a red personality. I had a client tell me that once and I didn't know what it was, so I Googled it. I am a red personality. There's different colors, like 4 or 5 different color personalities. I'm red. I'm bold. I'm not quiet. You're not going to meet me and I'm going to sit and, be introverted. I'm going to come out and say, hey, how you doing, and talk to you. That's red. That is who we are. I try to get my team to also be like that. But having that color and have that tied into your logo and that branding is important. If you buy a stock theme, which I'm sure a lot of people have, and it's great, and I sell stock themes, I have a store, spend the time or the money to change your theme's colors. If you buy a stock theme and it's got 6 color options available and they don't match your logo, update it. If you don't know how to update it, hire someone to update it. It's probably $100 to get someone to take a custom theme and put your custom color on it so that it matches your logo. We do it all the time. And by doing that, you're reinforcing the image of who you are so people can take that away with them. Typography, that was in the last session. It's fonts. What kind of fonts are you using? You should continue to use that in presentations, throughout the website, and anything you create for social media. Proposals, take it with you. Images and videos. This is one is really funny because we do a lot of website design and we work with everybody from small bloggers, hanging out overseas to like Michigan State University. You would be surprised at how many people are willing to spend $10,000 in a website or $3,000 in a custom blog theme and whip in any images. They're like, just give me an image. Don't do that. It is painful to look through stock photography for images, but if you do, you can really find images that suit your personality and that help reinforce that branding. On our website, when we redid it a couple of years ago, I spent a Saturday, and I am not lying, 8 hours I went through images on stock Photoshops or photo sites. I found some little boys that I really liked. Doesn't have anything to do with marketing, but they appealed to me, so I used them. One was on a skateboard and one was flying with a cape. That became part of our branding. I didn't realize when I was doing it that that's what I was doing. I kind of fell into branding elements that we have. But what taught me that was important is as I would talk to people later on, they'd say, oh, I really liked your website. You had the little boys. It reinforced that. It gave them an idea of we're real people. We're not just a developer. We're not just code. We have some personality, and that allowed people to kind of feel more comfortable with us. That's part of our branding. It is worth your time and effort to make sure that you utilize those types of resources. Your tone of voice is really important. Tone of voice is just how you talk when you write. I write when I blog, and I try to make sure that our website copy is how I would talk to you in real life. You don't want to sound like a professor, even though we are in a university. You don't want to sound stiff. If you are very comical, let that come out in your writing and people will really resonate with that and it'll draw them in. Your About Us page, the most painful thing you can ever write. How many people have an About Us page? How many people enjoyed writing it? Exactly. No, your bio. Even to come here and speak, you have to give a bio. I hate doing it. I'd rather go to the dentist than try to write something like that. But it speaks to your branding. It speaks to who you are, either as a blogger or as an organization, and you need to make that personal. You need to try to bring in those elements and make sure it supports the overall branding of who you are. This one is just my pet peeve, this last one, a favicon. The favicon is the little guy that sits up in the browser, and when you bookmark a website, it stores it with a bookmark. Should match your website or blog preferably pull it from your logo if you have a logo. Nobody does that. I don't know why. It drives me crazy. It's a file upload to your FTP server, or there's plugins. There's WordPress plugins that will let you bring that into your site very easily. But it just reinforces that idea of who you are so people can make that mental image. Okay, professional design speaks to my heart because this is what we do every day. It doesn't need to be some huge $40,000 website. It just needs to be professional, which is consistency. It's making sure that throughout the website that you do have consistent navigation, text, font types, sizes, your hyperlinks. And you may think that's silly, but when we actually hand over a website to people, you would be surprised at how many go in and start changing things to purple and green and whip in plugins that do other color coding things. What that does is it makes it very difficult for a reader to digest your content and to flow from one part of your website to another. A focused layout. The session before me was talking about picking a WordPress theme. Because we have an online store that sells themes, and we have like over 30 themes, I get a lot of inquiries from people. What theme should I buy? I don't know. I don't know what content you're going to have on your website or your blog. I don't know what's important. What I do know is that you need to kind of have that idea in mind, and you need to make sure that the theme that you select has your most important content easily identifiable and up towards the top so that it's not buried at the bottom. I can tell them that. But it's a personal decision, and you need to make sure that as you look through any type of redesign or a theme selection that you really make sure that you pay attention to what content do you want to have, where is it going to be, and that it all flows together. Okay, next on design is white space. I like white space. You can see my slide background is white. I really like white space. It's important. Our graphic designer, Carla, also loves white space. If you come to us and you say that you want a black background website, we're not going to be the partner for you because we're going to really make sure that you get a white background website or something similar. It can be another light palette. But the reason white space is so important is because it helps people digest your content. It allows them to easily read it. Whether you're a blog or you're a website, you have to make sure that that presentation is digestible by people. Control the bling. Unless you're Candy and you're a dancer, you don't need bling on your website. It doesn't need to sparkle. It doesn't need to, I know you're disappointed, I'm sorry. It doesn't, Candy, by the way, was my imaginary friend when I was little, which I don't know why I picked the name Candy, but now as an adult, I think it's the funniest, strangest thing ever, so that's why when I pick weird names, I always pick Candy. But it doesn't need to pop or sparkle, and we get a lot of people that go, I really want that to pop. Make it, give me some bling. I don't want to give you bling. Because what the bling does is when someone comes to your blog, what do they see? Exactly, you just did it. They see the bling and they don't see anything else. They don't see what you're writing. They can't read what you're writing because they can't get past the neon stuff you got flashing at them. And a lot of people want that, but don't do that. Bigger, not always better. Really, 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 especially when it comes to logos. 80% of clients ask for their logo to be bigger. I want people to remember it. Well, they're going to remember it, but guess what? You also want them to read the text on your page. Even though they're not going to read every word of it, they're going to scan it. But still, when you have a logo that's this big, and for me, I feel like the logo is going to jump out and eat me when people make it really, really big. Don't do that. Have a decent-sized logo in your header over to the left where people would expect it, or maybe in the center if that's how your website or blog's laid out. But it doesn't need to be huge. It needs to be there, present, professional. Okay, solid coding. This is so important for a variety of reasons. I mean, first of all, your website stays up and it doesn't crash. People can actually navigate through one page to another or one blog post to another without everything coming down and stopping and going at a snail's pace. Don't go to family. Please, oh please, oh please. Because what happens when you go to family, what do I have there? Your uncle's brother-in-law's son, which I really do get people saying stuff like that. So my brother-in-law's son has a friend or something like that, and he built this website, and these are businesses. People with money and that are using the internet to bring in leads and sales, and they give it to a 14-year-old to make. I have a 14-year-old. She's not going to build you quality code. She's going to put the sparkle that Candy would like out there. I mean, you don't do it, because what happens is 6 months later, you come to me to fix it, and we've got a much bigger problem than what you would have had at the beginning had you paid for a quality theme or you paid someone to build it for you. Quality theme. I know the person before me said they liked ThemeForest. Don't go to themeforest.net. Please don't. Here's what happens. If you go to ThemeForest or something like ThemeForest, you find the perfect theme, right? You see it, it's got lots of sales, it's got all of these options and sliders, and you can pick from 6 sliders and all of these short codes and 4,000 color combinations. But guess what happens when you do all that? All of the code that needs to drive that is in your website. So instead of having this much code, you have this much code, if not more. That makes your website slow. That makes your website very difficult for anybody you hire to edit it, because they have to go through 6,000 different files to find the right file to change. It makes plugins have conflicts. There is a reason why people go to ThemeForest, and I understand that, but if you could find a light theme that does what you want it to do, go that route as opposed to picking a theme with 400 options in it. HTML5 and schema. Does everybody know what that is? Yes, no? So HTML5 is a new type of coding standard on the internet, and schema allows the search engines to have a better idea of what's on your site. So schema would be, I have my themes that we sell have reviews on them. Schema supports those reviews and tells the search engines that this is a review, and allows the search engines to take those little 4 or 5 stars and put it in the search engine's results page. Those are important. All of the stuff that we do is HTML5 now, and it supports schema. We use the Genesis framework, so that makes it very easy for us. If you're going to go pick a new theme, or if you are going to have someone create you a new website, make sure it supports both. That is the standard, and you want to make sure you're with the standard, because everything is migrating that way. Okay, so headers and subheaders. Again, this is a Rebecca pet peeve. Your website page or post should have one H1 tag, and only one H1 tag. It is a signal for the search engines. It's good quality code. After that, you can have H2s and H3s and H4s and H5s, which is smaller header levels. That's great, but make sure that you use them properly. Don't add in another H1 into the page, even though your theme does it and has it there for you. Use the right hierarchy. And again, it's just H1, then H2 for the next thing that's most important. Then you start migrating down to H3 and H4. We typically hover around a lot of H3s. It's important for the search engines, and the use of them helps break up content for users. Frames. Frames are when you take code, outside code, and you stick it into your website, and it makes kind of a little website inside your website. There's a lot of third-party applications that will give you this, and it's an easy way to get stuff into your website without a lot of coding. Here's the problem. It's difficult with mobile device to make it responsive. It's difficult for search engines. It's difficult for users. Avoid them like the plague. Optimize for performance. I am not an expert on optimization. Our team are not experts on optimization. WP Site Care is. If your website is slow, I suggest you call up Brian at WP Site Care. He's going to make sure to sniff out what's causing the problems, whether it's your server, your hosting company, your theme, a plugin, the big images that you put in that are like this big that really only need to be this big, and you scale them down. He'll help figure that out. It's really, really important. It's important because Google uses that as an element of their search algorithm. It's also important for users. If someone has to wait on a page, they're gone. How many of you have gone to go to a website, especially on your mobile device, and it just doesn't come up, or it just waits forever? What do? We're Americans. We want immediate gratification. We leave the page. We don't stay. That's what's happening on your website. So figure out what it is, and if that is the only thing you take away from this presentation, take that away and fix that, because you will be surprised at what a difference it will make. An XML sitemap. How many people in here use an XML sitemap? Oh, people. You need everybody to raise your hand. Here's what this does. And so Yoast SEO will create this for you. It's a plugin. There's other plugins that do it. There's like a Google XML sitemap plugin, also solid. What it does is it takes everything on your blog or your website and it puts into a sheet, right? And if a good one will give you dates and priorities. Every time your website is updated, if I update the About page, it notes that on the XML sitemap. If I add a new blog post, it notes that on the XML sitemap. Guess what else it does? If you've added it to Bing or Google, as soon as you do that, your website goes out and goes, hey, I got new content. Come see me. That's pretty important. If you want people to come to your website or blog, you need to be able to have some type of device or connection to make sure the search engines know you have new content. The XML sitemap helps make that happen. Okay, a positive user experience. I've got the dog, because this is what I feel like when I go to some websites. Just don't make me look. Because they're cluttered, they make me feel stressed. That's why you want to have a positive user experience. If I feel stressed when I come to your blog, that's a problem, because we're not going to be able to have a good feel for what's going on. Really easy though. Sidebars that are not overwhelming. Navigation. Content that's free of spelling. Not difficult things right here. Make sure they can read your content. Make sure that you're using bullets and spacing within your paragraphs so that they can see it. And then check your browser rendering, because IE is going to look very different with something that's built in Safari. Especially if you make your own code changes and you're not really good about your code changes. Clear call to actions. This is just sign up for my newsletter, download a white paper, subscribe to my blog, fill out a contact form, and get something free. Make sure that if you are using them, there's a clear path for someone to get to it so they see that's what you want them to do. Make sure that it looks professionally and it's nicely designed. And make sure that you tell them what they're going to get. If you want them to subscribe to your newsletter, tell them how often it comes. Tell them what they're going to get inside the newsletter. And you'll be surprised at just doing that, how often people are going to actually subscribe and use it. Lovable landing pages. Landing page, just come to my landing page either from that call to action or a search engine. Make sure that you have a good headline. Keep your text limited, because all you want in that landing page is for someone to take an action. Fill out that contact form. Keep it simple. Don't ask for their firstborn child's name or the birthplace for them. Keep it simple. And if you have an option for giving a testimonial on that page, do that too, because that will help them convert and it will help them feel comfortable with you to send that in. Okay, keywords and SEO. By the way, this SEO section's got a lot of things. These are available, the slides are available on slideshare.net, and there's a link at the end. One keyword per page. Make sure that they're appropriate to what you're writing about, okay? Google's got a really good tool that's the pay-per-click tool for, it's the AdWords search tool. That's what I use. I don't pay for anything else. I mix up short and long keywords. So a short's a 1 or 2 word phrase versus something that's long that's 3 or 4 words. You would be surprised at how many long tail keywords or those longer phrases can bring in traffic. Don't go after something that's got 20,000 hits per month or searches per month. Go after something that's got 100. And you'll see traction, you'll see movement, and you'll start to see increase in traffic coming into your website. And again, I have a whole paragraph there. 1 word or 2 words per page. That's the only thing you focus on. If your page is about paleo diets, that's it. Don't go anywhere else. Don't start talking about vegan or anything else and try to focus on it. Just focus on that. That's how the search engines say, this is a good piece of content to give for that search term. Map your keywords to your website. When you plan, make sure that you can say, here's a clear map of this keyword to this page or this keyword to this post. It will help you keep yourself straight. It'll help make sure that you're not competing against yourself within your own blog, which really does happen. It's one of the most important things that you can do, and use that roadmap going forward. And Yoast SEO does a really good job of helping you do that, because it makes you put in, or it asks you to put in a keyword for that piece of content. And if you use it, it helps keep you on track. I pick and choose my battles. With my children, I do it with keywords too. Don't try to get every single keyword under the sun. Pick a few and go after them, and go after them hard. Create quality content. Quality content is not one paragraph. It's not 3 paragraphs. Whenever I go to a blog post from social media and I get there and it's 3 paragraphs, I get angry. That was not worth my click. I want you to educate me. I want you to gain my trust. I want you to position yourself as an expert and use facts and figures and tell me how you know what you know and why is it good for me. That's what I want you to do. That's good quality content. It's not a sales pitch. It's education. There's a lot of people that we talk to that before they come and they pick up the phone or they send an inquiry, they're bought in and they're drinking Rebecca's Kool-Aid because they've been reading my blogs and I've tried to educate them. I don't pitch them. I don't tell them come buy a theme or let us build you a big fat website. I educate them and I build their trust. Do that with your content. Keep it light. I said I write like I talk. My blog post would be just like this if you read them. I try to keep it light. I try to keep it funny. I'll put in stories about my kids because I want them to feel comfortable with me and I want to get them to engage with me and leave a comment. Freshness. When was the last time you updated your blog or website? Anybody? Today, yesterday, last week?
Yesterday.
Thank you. Freshness matters to the search engines. It's a huge requirement now. Update your old pages. If you got your about page or a service page or a product page out there that hasn't been updated in 6 months, guess what? That matters to the search engines. Go update it. Make sure that you're adding fresh content to your website every week if you can. I know that's hard, but we have a lot of clients who pay us to build them websites, and then they just think they're going to walk away and just never touch it again. Guess what? No one's going to come because the freshness matters to the search engines. It affects the overall website and how you're going to rank. Be consistent. Chris Lema here blogs every single day. That is not the normal person. He is not normal. The average person is going to blog, what? Maybe once a week, once every 2 weeks, once a month. I don't care, but do it and keep it consistent. Jennifer Bourne in our industry, she's another Genesis developer and she's on the West Coast. I love her to pieces, and you know why I love her? She keeps me on task. When I see her post a blog post and we're actually friends, I'm like, dang, I gotta write something. Because she has a publishing schedule and she continues to blog and she's got a plan, she's got a strategy. And I want to be Jennifer Bourne when I grow up. I really do. I need to be her. I need to have more consistency and find your Jennifer Bourne. Follow them on Facebook. Follow them on Twitter because that person will keep you going. Yes? B-O-U-R-N.
No E.
No E. Her husband's name is Brian. They have a development firm together.
Called Born Creative.
Born Creative, yes. Great. She has great content. What is she doing? She's like me. She's educating you. She's getting you to buy in, to drink their Kool-Aid, and she makes fabulous custom themes for bloggers, by the way. Even though she's my competitor, I'm going to tout her because she does a great, great job. If I sit down and say I've got to write something, what happens? I'm like, oh, dang, what am I going to write? I don't know. So what do? When I'm driving in the car, when I'm taking a shower, is when I think of blog post ideas. When I'm on the phone with somebody and they say, here's my problem, that's a blog post idea. I have in my notes on my Mac, on my iPad, and on my cell phone, they all sync. Those are my blog post ideas. So when I have a moment to sit down and write, I never have to think about what I'm going to write about. I go to that list, I pull from that list. That's what I use to write. And it makes a huge difference because when you have quiet time, that's when you get to think, your mind gets to free itself. That's when you come up with the best ideas. Make it personal. If you want to connect with people, make it personal. I've always said this, but I didn't really know it really works until I spoke in WordPress Miami. I got off stage and there's these women waiting for me and they're like, hello, we read your blog. Can we do a selfie together? I had no idea. I mean, people say they read your blog, but you don't really think that they read your blog. They really read my blog. I've had people in my old industry say they know me at a conference, never met the person before, and it turns out he's read my blog, and he could quote things in my blog that I had written a year ago. It was a Girl Scout. It was an article about Girl Scout cookies, how I'm the cookie mom, and how I applied my real business life to the process of those cookies. This is a guy like in his 60s. But for whatever reason, that connected with them because I gave something personal of myself. Give something personal. You don't need to tell them your street address, your birthday, so that they can come rob your house or hack you, but just give a little bit of personal. You'll be surprised at how much that comes back to you. Avoid the bait. Anything that you think is like great content and is going to drive in droves of people, don't do it. It'll never work. We talked a little bit about SEO, meta titles, meta descriptions. I won't go in everything here, but these are going to be available. Read those and make sure that when you're doing new content, consider a meta title, a meta description. Use Yoast, I think that's SEO for WordPress or WordPress SEO, his plugin. Use it. If the only thing, again, you take away today, take away that. The XML sitemap and Yoast. Those two will be great for you, and you'll be surprised at how much of an impact it will make. If you want to show up on page 1 of Google, and you want people to actually click through to your site, that meta title, which is what shows up for search engines, the meta description, shows up in the search results page. Make that count. It's the first thing someone sees before they come to your website. Consider that above all else, because before anyone ever reaches your content, that's what they see. If your meta description puts them to sleep, do you think that they're going to click through and come read whatever piece of content you wrote? No, they're not. If it's really salesy and cheesy, are they going to click through? No. You got to find a balance. You need it to be just enough to entice them to want to come through and click through and read what you wrote or see your product or look at your blog, but not so much that you scare them away. Don't forget mobile. How many in here have a mobile-friendly site? It's responsive. Very important these days, and it varies by industry. Our website doesn't get a ton of mobile traffic, but I have like a paleo blogger. 65% of her traffic comes from mobile. It's because it's women sitting at their office reading her blog posts on their phones because they can't use their corporate computers. I mean, honestly, if that's your audience, you've got to get on. Your website has to be mobile responsive. I about died when I saw her mobile traffic, but that's what it is. If you have a really large client website or your website's going to be super, super large, if you're Walmart, okay, mobile response is probably not going to work for you. You might need a mobile app. Or you might need a completely separate website that's dedicated to mobile. I would assume that most people in this room, you need a responsive website. You don't need a separate mobile app. One of the things that we do when we launch themes and client websites is we always check across all the devices for mobile responsive to make sure that what you put out there and what actually renders is good and it's easy to read and it looks nice, it's aesthetically pleasing. Make the time to do that. Avoid Flash. Flash doesn't work on mobile devices, or at least Apple ones. Okay, I said 10. I lied. I had a couple more than I wanted to put in. Embrace social media. I would not be where I am today in WordPress. I would not have a firm as successful as I do if I did not embrace social media. It is not just posting content and forgetting about it. It's interacting. It's picking the right social networks. So I gave you the ones that I like. If SEO is your goal, Google+. Everything you post needs to go to Google+. It gets indexed within 6 seconds, as soon as you put it on Google+. YouTube, a Google property. I don't do videos, but a lot of people do. Huge influence on SEO. If you're doing business to business for clients or for yourself, Twitter, LinkedIn, Quora. Twitter you may not find clients from, but you know what? You're going to be able to connect with industry leaders and other bloggers, and they will influence your search traffic. Business to consumer, so if you're the paleo blogger and you want to connect with the moms out there, guess what? They're on Facebook, Pinterest, and they're following their kids on Instagram because all the kids left Facebook. You have to be on the right network, and you need to make sure that you participate and you're really active. And it's not just, it's sharing your own content, it's sharing others, it's making sure that you follow people, that you make comments. It's all of those things you would do in real life apply to social media. 30% of our traffic comes from social media, and I really know SEO. So if I really know SEO and I'm powerful in SEO, and still 30% of my traffic comes from social media, that tells me how important it is. You have to have it. And oh, by the way, social media influences SEO. You can't have good search engine optimization now without having a presence on social media and without having your content shared. I have that very first item, make sure you share your own content. That seems like common sense, right? A ton of businesses that we work with set up accounts for social media and forget they're there. They publish blog posts and never share them. Don't be that guy. Share your content. Be active. Be real. Okay, I love the Muppets, so this is why the chef's up here. Avoid some old school craziness. I still talk to people that do this kind of thing. What is old school craziness? It'll get you booted off of Google and it'll get you booted off of Bing. Thin content, so content that is like this big, stolen from someplace else. Scraped from someplace else. And I go through what these are. Duplicate content, having the same content, 4 different websites. Don't do that. That doesn't help you. It hurts you. It'll make things blow up in your face. And I did get booted off of Google in my early days. Once that happens and once you get removed off, you will be surprised at how much you are going to adhere to the search engines and do everything that they tell you to do. I got booted off probably 12 years ago. I did get myself back on. But I live by the rules of Google and I avoid anything like this. Paid links, those guest blogs that everybody loves so much are now kind of on the outs with Google. Excessive ads, selling a link for somebody on your website. All of these things can get you in trouble. And you might think, well, I just blog, I don't need to know about it. You do. You need to be aware of what's going to blow up in your face. This is my favorite quote. Unfortunately, it wasn't from Chris Lemon, but it was from Maya Angelou. You do the best that you can with what you know, and when you know better, you do better. I believe this in internet marketing. There's a lot I didn't know 10 years ago, which is why I got booted off of Google. But I know better now, and I do better. And every year I learn more, and every year I do better. And you would be surprised at the snowball effect that has in your internet marketing and how much that will make a difference. And again, it's a tipping point. You take all of those little things and you put them together, and it makes a huge impact in what you do and how much traffic will come to your website and also convert. This is a little about me. I like the Muppets, but I really like Animal. And I like Beaker more than the chef, but the chef applied because he always blew stuff up. I do own a firm called Web Savvy Marketing in Michigan, and my slides are available, because there was a lot of content there that I wanted you to have, at SlideShare with my name. So thank you for sitting through the presentation. Does anyone have any questions? Happy to answer them. Yes?
In your discussion of mapping keywords to pages, you made the remark, don't compete against yourself.
Yes. Yes. I am guilty of this. And the bigger the blog you have, the more it happens. Website design is a page I have on my website. Website design should not be a tag or a category I have on my blog. Because what happens, and we all do this, the search engines come and they go, all right, which one do I pick for website design? You don't know.
Wouldn't it just be different?
There's different contents, but you want one piece of content for a given phrase, so the search engines know that's where I want to send them for that term. Don't make the search engines think. And if you keep a map, and every 6 months, go back and look at your tags if you're a blogger, and make sure that you don't have plural versions, right? Which I catch myself doing as well. A singular and a plural, you have tags for both somehow, those compete with each other. Don't do that.
What about variations like site designing?
I have web design as a page and web development as a blog category, so I don't compete with each other. Now my web design page brings in a lot of organic traffic. My blog, not so much, and that's okay because that was an anchor page and it's got a lot of links going into it and a lot of social media shares and things like that. Who else? There was people over here.
You talk about avoiding frames, and I can see how in some cases you can avoid that. For example, rather than embedding a Google Calendar, use a WordPress plugin so the content's on your site. But there are so many pieces of external content. You can embed tweets and slides and everything. So where do you draw that line between recreating it inside your own content so then the HTML of your own?
Yeah, especially because you're a developer. If there's no other solution and you have to use the frame, you have to use the frame, especially with clients. If you have someone, like I have a franchise company, and their franchise, the third party that they work with, has an iframe. It is the only solution that they offer. We have to do it. But it's painful when it comes to mobile devices trying to get all that to render properly. And it's, we have to give up a lot to make all of that work in conjunction with each other. So if there's a plugin that you can do instead, I would do the plugin. If there's a Google Map, I would do the Google Map. I would avoid, that external embed as much as possible. That's my rule of thumb. Can we find another way to get around it? Yes, we're going to go that route. If not, dang it, we're stuck with that iframe. Who else? Yes?
When you're helping your clients with their content, how much of it are they providing to you, or how much of it are you sorting through for them?
Yeah.
How does that process work for you?
It's changed over the growth of our firm. When we first started 5 years ago, when I was the one-woman shop, I would help them write content and I would edit their content. We go through so many websites, we don't have that skill set anymore. That, and when our reach went from just industry I knew to all over the world in all different languages and all different people, you can no longer edit and write their content for them. So we put the due diligence on them, and we try to give them a third-party solution that could potentially work with them if they need it. But I will do this. So, and I have these plumbers who I love to death in Michigan. They wanted the same thing on every single piece of every page at the bottom. It was not the great paragraph. It was bold. It was big letters. They were doing all the bling. Bigger is better. I came back to them and I changed it every single page. I did take the time to say, we're not going to do that, and here's why. And even though I said that and they kept giving it to me, I kept going behind them and changing it, because for me it was the right thing to do. So that's kind of my benchmark, and how much that we change. Can I change that because it doesn't change the meaning of the page and it just makes it better? Yes, we do it. But if not, if it goes to the focus of the page or the intent of the page, I push it back to the client and I counsel them on what they should do to make it better.
So all your sites that you're building install through WordPress? You're not doing...
No, I am married to WordPress and I'm married to the Genesis framework. I love both to pieces. I will not leave them until we get to be the new Flash and no one uses us anymore. Someday that will happen and I will cry. Yes?
So if you get someone who's on another platform, do you just turn them away?
Yes. In fact, when we do SEO, I've been doing SEO for like 15 years. So I really know SEO, and people will come and go, I really need some help with SEO. So-and-so recommended me to you. And I'm like, are you on WordPress? No. I'm like, I can't help you. I could guide you, but I can only guide you so far. And then all the things that I would do with WordPress, XML sitemaps, using Yoast, teaching them how to do things right, I no longer have that available to me. It's a strange platform that I can't work within, and I know I'm no longer the best solution for them, so I try to say, you know what, we're not the best solution for them. But the interesting thing is you'd be surprised at how many people will go, okay, we'll give WordPress a try. Because they realize if I'm that firm with my guns and I'm saying I'm not changing, they're willing to give it a second look.
What do you recommend for being trained in WordPress, the best sources?
I trained myself by Google, just Googling stuff. I learned a lot through the studiopress.com forums, which is the Genesis framework. They really taught me how to hack code, and thankfully I now have people to do the code and they don't let me encode. But back then, when I was at one-woman shop and editing themes, they were my lifesaver. And if they couldn't tell me. I Googled it. Now there's like Lydia.com and WP Beginner, WP 101. We use WP 101 videos on every single website we build for people, and I install them and I maintain that license. Wonderful product. WP Beginner. Every time I have a client that comes to me with like the craziest, silliest question, I go to WP Beginner because I know Saeed's going to have some type of answer that I can just give them a link, and he's going to be way better with that explanation than I would be. So those would be my places that I would start with. Anybody else? Yes?
If you want to, on your blog, you basically want to reference something that they've read on another location, what would be the best way to do that? Provide a paragraph and then a link to that?
Yes, yeah. So what I would do, so if you're putting that inside a larger piece of content, I would pull out what's important and what you want to highlight. And I use it in quotes or separate apart visually so people know that's not your words, and then cite the source. If you were doing, if you want to just say, this is a great article, go read this, I would give a little intro to the article. I'd give like just a few highlights it, and then I would link over to that piece of article. Because that's enough to say to the search engines, yes, they're providing value, and they're just not duplicating or scraping content.
So
you wouldn't, obviously, then wouldn't recommend taking the first paragraph of that article and then using that as
If that's the only thing you're doing, because think about this. The first paragraph on any piece of content is what the search engines see first. They read left to right, top to down. So when the search engine comes and they see duplicate content, which is a big no-no for them, what are they going to do? You've just discounted your content immediately. So always have unique content at the top. And if you don't, by the way, if you don't want to create meta descriptions for every single piece of content you write, use Yoast. It'll auto-create those for you. Just make sure that whatever keyword you've identified for that page or post is in the very first sentence of your content, because that's what the search engines will pick up, and most likely that's what they'll pull to put in the search results page. That's my lazy way of SEO and stuff. Anybody else have questions? Nope. Thank you very much.